probably think that I'm going to start today with the big Fed announcement. 3 rate cuts in 2024. And I am really stoked about it. The markets are too. That was actually the best Fed day across all asset classes that we've seen in over a decade. Actually, like in almost 15 years. The markets responded really well, so did interest rates, and we are back in the sixes, my friends. But I actually want to talk about something different that Powell said. I kind of thought that he was under the influence of something when he announced the rate cuts because it's such a pivot from what they've said, at least publicly. But I knew he was high when he said we are not in a recession. Like, in what world, bro? Here are some signs that we are indeed in a recession. The jobs market that is actually not that strong. Sure, the November non-farm payrolls numbers rose and the household survey also looked good, but there's a couple glitches here. First and foremost, revisions downward following the big release of data are common practice now. We're actually at negative 372,000 in downward revisions so far this year. So it really doesn't matter what the numbers say initially because the next month they're going to be revised significantly down. The job openings and labor turnover survey, JOLTS, showed hiring is at its lowest since March of 2021, and job listings from major recruiting firms all continue to fall. Another sign we're in a recession? Just look at China. We've discussed this here, and then after we discussed it here, the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about it. I'll link it below, but I know what you're really thinking. Are those Wall Street Journal reporters watching Shivani? Are they watching my blogs? I know, I've wondered the same thing. The most recent Beige Book, which is a report published by the Fed 2 weeks prior to every meeting, showed that 2/3 of our economy is either contracting or flatlining. Rate cuts, those are, in fact, a sign that we're headed towards a recession. I don't know who noticed before they popped champagne, but we are not at a 2% target that the Fed has been very public about. So why would they announce rate cuts? Because they've also been very public about the fact that they want a soft landing. So they're going to cut rates to make sure we're headed away from a not so soft landing, that we're not headed into the Greater Recession or the Great Recession 2.0 or the Great Self-Induced Recession. The resilient consumer that held up our economy is getting tapped out. They've spent their savings. We know that from the savings rates. They've maxed out their credit card. The data supports that too. Now the data is showing increased credit card delinquencies and more customers choosing the buy now, pay later at checkout. Now, I do want to be more balanced here and offer the point of view that I could be wrong because, well, I've been wrong before. Signs that we are not headed into a recession. The definition of a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of a generally slowing economy. A depression happens when that is extended significantly longer. The Bureau of Economic Analysis estimates that the economy grew this year at an annual rate of 5.2%, at least as of the end of Q3. Regardless, here's what I'm going to be bringing up with my sphere, and you can feel free to rip off and duplicate it with yours. 1, we are in layoff season. Now is not the time to half-ass your job. From small to medium to massive corporations, the higher-ups are looking at their profit and loss and analyzing that bottom line number. You know what they do next? They look at the person who's late every day or who takes a 90-minute lunch and thinks no one notices. The ones who spend their time carefree and off task while the folks in the outer and corner offices are sweating looking at the numbers. The ones who show up with a bad attitude. Don't let this be you. Now is the time to put your best foot forward and assert your value to that company. Do not wait for interest rates to drop for your home ownership dreams to materialize. Every market brings its own challenges. Lower rates are definitely something to be very excited about. They are also something you will need to strategize about. I highly recommend you have a short-term strategy that is adaptable on a dime's notice, but a long-term strategy and goals that are very stagnant. And then take a cold, hard look at your money. The basic advice is to manage your spending and try to save. The more advanced advice that I'm going to be giving out, and I want you to too, is to hoard your cash for investment opportunities. Inside real estate, sure, there'll be investment opportunities. Outside real estate, for sure, there will be investment opportunities. These opportunities always pop up when very few can take advantage of them, and I want my community to be the ones who are ready to capitalize on them. I'm sure you do too.